Hi, hello, my beautiful fellows. I'm the #1 Time Man. Welcome to my channel. Megaman turns 35 years old this year. Big whoop, I can turn to hard drugs on her too. And since I'm the most basic of all basic Megaman fans, I think it's my moral obligation to take a look at the first game of the franchise and give it a critical look. Ah, Megaman, Capcom's favorite doormat. Every gamer knows about the mega-ness of this man. While he doesn't make quite as many appearances like he used to, for a while he was a recognizable face in the video game industry, spanning over tons of sequels, a gritty reboot, RPGs, handheld variants, 3D games, and that's only scratching the surface with plenty of comics, 2 cartoons, PSP remake, game compilations. There's a reason why he's still popular to this day. And it was all thanks to this kidney stone of a game, Mega Man 1. Capcom was a well-known arcade company during the early 80s and wanted to expand to gaming consoles like the NES, mainly because games like Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt helped save the video game crashing from 1983. Artists Keiji Inafune and Akira Kirimura were soon hired to create character designs and enemy assets for Capcom's upcoming game. While Inafune is credited for being the father of Mega Man, Kirimura was the one who had the general idea, inspiration, and concept of the character that would later become. While taking inspiration from Astro Boy and tossing up names between Knuckle Kid and Rainbow Man, which has a whole different meaning nowadays, Rockman was born. Yeah, but hey, we have the character, we have the game, all we need is the box art. What the f*** is that? I know, this box art has been made fun of tons of times, but gosh damn, isn't it ugly? Why is he so lopsided? Why is he yellow? Is he constipated? Or are these metal breastplates on the ground? The Japanese box art isn't too bad, but it doesn't really tell me much about the game, nor does it intrigue me. I like the European box art better. Not only is Mega Man, well, blue, but it looks so cool and action-packed. My only question is Dr. Wily up here. I can't tell if he's mad that someone is McGriddle or he's sexually aroused by Mega Man.
Now that, in my expert opinion, is a mega ass.
Even though he's not as revolutionary as Pac-Man or Mario, Mega Man has definitely made a name for himself in the video game community. While he's not my personal favorite, I can't help to deny that he made a key influence in the platforming genre. I mean, look at this. This is Mega. Now for this video, I'll be taking a look at the Legacy Collection version of Nintendo Switch, which homes the infamous setting, the rewind feature. Now the question remains, will I be using this feature? Please don't tell my mom. Our story goes as follows. Dr. Light is a holly jolly Santa Claus man who uses his goodwill and intellect to create 6 classes of robots to excavate jobs that are usually deemed too hazardous for human health. He additionally made 2 more robots to assist him around the lab, a female named Roll and a male named Rock. Goodness, Light, just have sex already. Dr. Wily, Dr. Light's former assistant, grew jealous of Light's profound success and admiration and stole all 6 of Light's robot masters for his plans to
try to take over the world.
Rock, having a sense of justice, pleased with Dr. Light to turn him into a super fighting robot to help save the day. With a Mega Buster in one hand, having the ability to steal weapons, and donning the shade of blue because of color limitations on the NES, Mega Man was born. Oh, and Roll's there too, I guess. Upon starting the game, you have the controls to take on any level to start at. Now, this may not be a revolutionary thing, but you gotta remember, 80s. You can only do 2 things in Mega Man, which is jumping and shooting. Just like basketball! And like basketball, you need to traverse each level with its own obstacles and enemies to reach the Robot Master at the end. Ah, the Robot Masters, which consists of Cut Man, Guts Man, Ice Man, Bomb Man, Fireman, Elect Man. Professor and Mary Ann. Each Robot Master has their own weapon and attack powers that you need to overcome and understand. Once defeated, you get a Yay, I did it! But what it also means is that you got the Robot Master's signature weapon, so you can use it in your arsenal. You see, all the Robot Masters have a certain weakness to make their encounters a bit easier, but depending on what they're weak against is what the player needs to figure out. Most of the time, it's easy to understand what's weak to what, like with Cutman, where he uses scissors as an attack, so that makes him weak to Gutman's super arm, which allows Mega Man to pick up heavy rocks. Bombs are normally used for demolition and condemned buildings, so a construction robot like Gutsman is really weak towards. Fire usually lights up matches in TNT, so using Fireman's weapon is really vulnerable against Bomb Man. How Fireman is weak to Iceman's weapon is something I'll never understand, and having Iceman be weak to electricity is even more confusing. Doesn't fire melt ice? Well, unless you're talking about this ice cube, and this ice cube is pretty lit. Your main default weapon is the Mega Buster. Simple, effective, and gets the job done with most enemies. However, you can use the boss weapons inside the stages itself, so you can have more versatility. Some of these are my favorite, like Cutman's Rolling Cutter for how it can handle grounded or high-flying enemies in a rolling boomerang arc, Fireman's for how much it packs a punch, and Electman's where it can fire 3 directions and how much damage it can take. Wait a minute, Megaman can shoot high voltage electric beams in 3 directions, but not his own default weapon? I mean, for goodness sakes, you're just throwing boiled eggs at everyone! There's also different items you can pick up along the journey or by killing enemies, like energy canisters to help refill Megaman's health, weapon capsules to restore depleting boss weapons, or Megaman's
Decapitated head.
gain an extra life. While Mega Man 1 might be simple, it has a lot in terms of replay value, variety, and weapons. It's a solid platforming game. It has its fair share of action and pattern recognition. With that being said, it's no wonder why this franchise was remembered so fondly and beloved by fans of gaming. Wait a minute, is this game hard? Oh yeah, I think it is. Okay, let's get one thing straight. Mega Man 1 is freaking hard. The main chunk of the game is just throwing crap at you and just telling the player to suck it up. Oh, what's that, Alex? You fallen off your bike and scraped your knee? Piss off, you little cum splat! And it's not just the placement of the enemies that are the problem, it's how they're coded and react. Some of these enemies are just really aggravating to deal with. Like these helicopter guys in Cutman stage, how much they bombard you at once. Or in Electman stage while you're climbing up the endless amount of ladders and these electric eye thingies like to keep shooting at you. And then you have these, Sniper Joes. They have a shield which prevents Mega Man from shooting at them. How you defeat them? Attack while they shoot at you. And you can't just repeatedly shoot them until they put their shield down, because they'll just keep it up until you stop attacking. But by far, the absolute worst enemy in the game is this thing. What are they called? I don't know, and I don't care. All I know is whoever designed these things needs to go step on a Lego brick. Not only are these things difficult to dodge, they're impervious to damage, and they hit like a gosh damn truck. Look at the amount of damage these things take from you. Oh. That's a lot of damage. But you know what really grinds my gears? Mega Man controls like churned unpasteurized cow butter. His traction is very slippery, his jumping feels really heavy and stilted, and since this is a platformer which contains stuff like Iceman's level, you like to take a hammer and shatter your unprivileged area. Ow. Ice Physics, these penguin enemies have a wavy curve pattern which makes it really hard to attack. Ice Physics, you have these disappearing block puzzles which requires the player a lot of memorization and strict timing, miss out one jump and oopsie doops you have to do it again. Ice Physics, these jackasses that I've mentioned right before a boss fight, and I mentioned the Ice Physics because it's Ice Physics. Ice Physics, Ice Physics,
Ice Physics!
There's also an area in the level where Mega Man has to ride these helicopter enemies in order to get to the end of the stage. But not only do these things continuously shoot at Mega Man, which could cause him to fall into a bottomless pit, but you don't have a set pattern to take you across the area, which means it's completely random if/when they'll take you where you need to go. But hey, if you're not a fan of that, there's also the magnet beam. We'll get back to that. Ugh, well that was a hernia and a half. I defeated all 6 Robot Masters, and now I get to take on Dr. Wily. What's so funny? What I like about Wily's Fortress is that it takes full advantage that you have the boss weapons and you use them in ways to overcome each challenge. Except for this part of the game which could actually go do one. You see this right here? This is a weapon called the Magnet Beam, which you can collect in the Electman stage after obtaining his or Gutsman's power. But the thing is, it is required for you to beat the game with it. If I didn't know or heard about this before playing, I would have no idea what to do here. And it's not like it was hinted at or the game gives it to you automatically like the boss weapons. It was an optional thing that you can choose to ignore. It's not a bad weapon or anything. Actually, it helps with tricky platforming sequences like an Iceman stage or the first part of Wily's Fortress. But it's still a major flick to the balls just to trick the player like that. And I should know about flicked balls because I pounded mines. And of course, you have the Yellow Devil. may be a pussy, but at least I'm still wet. And trust me, this isn't the first nor the last time we've ever seen this boss, so let me have this one, okay? Continuing on in the stage, we encounter some of the robot masters and fight them for a rematch. While most fans like those parts of the games, I personally think it's pointless and just wasting my weapon energy. After defeating the first few robot masters, we have to fight ourselves. Am I my own worst enemy? The copy bot, what it likes to be called, copies your weapons and doesn't really have a set pattern, so good luck. On to the next boss fight, the bubble. At first I thought Gusman's weapon was his weakness since there were these blocks here, and yeah, it does do a lot of damage to the thing, but if you do this strategy, you've lost. Since the boss is so big, you need the blocks to jump over the thing while it's moving, and nothing besides the Mega Buster and the blocks can hurt it. Also, if you use up all the blocks, they don't reappear when you die, so I guess you have to game over and start the level all over again. So after destroying the last remaining robot masters, we now face off against Dr. Wily, who hurts, but he's pretty easy to beat. So what's our brave hero gonna do after he triumphs against an evil criminal? Let him cry like a sniveling piss-pants baby and leave him to wallow in his own filth. So obviously this vindictive terrorist is gonna try this crap again for like 10 more times. Also, Mega Man, I don't know what's going on down there, but I think I like it. So, that was Mega Man 1. First game in the series, and hot damn does it feel like it. There's a lot to be loved in this title, and many of the game's mechanics and ideas were soon to be used later for other entries in this series, and the graphics and presentation is pretty great, but overall, I really didn't enjoy this game. It has way too much trial and error, the level design can be relentless, and at the end of it all, I didn't feel a sense of victory when I beat Dr. Wily, I just felt restless and happy to be done with this game. Now sure, I could give it the benefit of the doubt and call it the first game in the series, but this game is so bad and frustrating that it could detract other players from becoming a series in the first place. That's what almost happened. Mega Man 1 didn't really sell well for Capcom, and they were planning on scrapping the Blue Bomber altogether. But Keiji Inafune wanted to continue on with the series. Capcom gave the okay as long as he and his team were continuing on other projects and titles. So yeah, if it wasn't for the will of the developers, Mega Man 2 probably wouldn't have happened. Mega Man 1, while flawed, was only the first step for future endeavors of the series. And even though it left a sour taste in my mouth, I still respect it for being the domino effect of a franchise spanning over 35 years of love and passion. Maybe the sour taste in my mouth was that expired milk I had this morning. Excuse me for a moment.